important information. It's about time to squeeze the bears short. You're not kidding. I purchased a few XRPs today. I glanced at it first. It appears that the market will benefit. Our decision to leave was prompted by JPMorgan's stock manipulation. Come on down here, guys. We recently learned of some news today as well. We must ascertain the true situation. I believe they are aiming for the moon, given that they did not drop to 140. Guys, I suppose they stopped exactly here. They're going to blow it up now. All right, so this means that many shorts need to be removed. I purchased some, and since I believe that 140 is on the horizon, I will sell that XRP and wait for a lower price if we post a moonshot. They'll go up first, I believe. Guys, have a look at this from Chad. Book markets are on fire, you people. Do you mean the panel for the XRP ETF? We actually got these are all the numbers on XRP ETFs that you should be aware of. Actually, this is quite bizarre. ETF terminal for XRP. And folks, there's a lot of information here. However, you know what interests me. In 12 hours, Franklin Templeton and Grayscales will go live. All right, you're correct. Guys, there are positive signs for tomorrow. All right, let's explode from the arse of cryptocurrency. A significant event has just awakened the futures market. The volume of Binance futures just skyrocketed in every market. One of the largest price spikes in recent months occurred when the price of Bitcoin futures soared over $48.0 billion. Additionally, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Tron, and BNB all had simultaneous price increases. Yes, exactly. However, why is that? Why is the volume of Bitcoin futures and all other coins soaring at the moment? I believe that a lot of people are interested in these currencies because they are now inexpensive, which is most likely the reason we are pushing all of this right now. Money or volume, as I would say. Thus, XRP did not change from $188. Right present, the next level of support is at 230. It's likely that we will go there. It appears that we will surpass this level. I believe this area will get tagged, so that's why I bought even though I stated I would wait for 140. However, once we reach that point, I plan to sell and then wait for 140, guys. All of these shots have been hit thus far. Why not on 140 then? That was very close, don't you think? When that flame of bankruptcy strikes. Previously, but it appears that they wish to raise it before lowering it. That's the only reason we went this low, by the way. In the first place, dump occurred in this manner. Are you aware of the reason? I believe it was due to the manipulation of cryptocurrencies by JPMorgan and other large corporations in order to dump them. That's fascinating. You ask, but why? Likely to obtain inexpensive cryptocurrency, correct? Take a look at this from Bitcoin therapist Justin. Many people are. Following an attack on the owners of MicroStrategy, they hurried to terminate their JPMorgan accounts. Therefore, JPMorgan believes that this action by MSCI may cause the strategy to drop out of the top equity indices. All right? Additionally, this tail was becoming out of control. As previously stated, MicroStrategy bones will now fall during the fall if they fail. All right? Naturally, they were compelled to vacate their location when Bitcoin ceases to function. However, JPMorgan was raising the alarm. Everyone is afraid. All right. As a result of their pursuit of Michael Saylor's microplan. Okay, so as a result of this, Bitcoin fell to about 80 KS and XRP dropped to 80 cents on the dollar. All right, so people are beginning to realize that this attack is sort of coming to an end. All right, so this was a complete deception. They are eliminating 25% of their MicroStrategy position, which is why MCI said that Bitcoin companies could not join large indexes right before. Nothing is visible here. This is just another well-timed move by a large corporation. Since the game is fixed, Bitcoin doesn't give a damn about their ranks. These are the stocks that the JPMorgan men own as part of their MicroStrategy. They sold 25% of their MicroStrategy holdings prior to Masa's announcement that Bitcoin startups could not join large indexes. JPMorgan then launched a full-scale assault on MicroStrategy. That was all there was to it, as you can see. Remember that we stated that there will be a tail that would indicate the short-term bottom. It might have been right here. Yes. This amounts to full-fledged secret trade, which is quite absurd. All right. Even before the price lowered, they were sold. Who knows after that? Since they purchased a lot of cryptocurrency during the stump, they must be purchasing, right? Due to a shortage of cash. Everyone is selling their cryptocurrency. I also knew that when they pumped it after turning it around, they would immediately blast it up. Why? Due of the numerous shorts. All right, I believe we should simply make a straight line. However, I'll sell them the extra item I purchased today when we do. All right, I'm delaying purchases till prices decline because I believe there will probably be another black swan occurrence in the coming weeks. According to CoinDesk, JPMorgan estimates that removing MicroStrategy from benchmarks like MSCI and NASDAQ 1 odd 00 might result in a $2, 8 billion loss. What was said by the sailor? The sailor is unconcerned. Regarding the JPMorgan report that was released this morning, it stated the strategy might not meet criteria. Wow, that's really cruel of them, I thought. The fact that they released that report to frighten everyone is absurd. I'm referring to everyone else who sold and most likely purchased it all back while you guys weren't watching, even though I know I wasn't afraid. I'm referring to the individuals who sold their Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. This is absurd. NASDAQ, MSCI, and it may result in an automatic withdrawal of roughly $2.8 billion from the market. Only from the MSCI, that is. What are your thoughts about that? I think there are too many issues with it. I don't think this number is all that high. Actually, I believe the figures would be far lower. Furthermore, I think it has already been priced 10 times into the market. The choices made by MCI and the NASDAQ 100 and SP500 list providers don't appear to be related in any way. Guys, it appears that he doesn't give a damn about the company. I believe the WoW planned this attack based on the way things appear. Observe that. Take a peek at XRP's progress. I take it that you all think this is evil? You just witnessed a complete in-the-moment demonstration of how they manipulate markets and people's thoughts. All right? There are rumors circulating throughout the US. They required the MAF to be operational before they could invest several $billion on MicroStrategies. Thus, JPMorgan was the reason behind the crash of Bitcoin. I believe it to be something like this. Before the dump had occurred, their MicroStrategy wager vanished. All right? Then, behind closed doors, where neither you nor I can see their wallets, they most likely purchased as many cryptocurrencies as they could. The prices are really low. Customers are now upset with JPMorgan in stores. They have repeatedly shared my posts about JPMorgan's offensive strategy. Therefore, MicroStrategy will be under pressure next week. It appears that this week will be a bullish one. It's a new week now. People are beginning to realize that this entire mess actually did occur. We're going to make a positive change. First of all, why? We even speculated that the figures might have been manipulated by JPMorgan. The amusing thing about JPMorgan is that they believe the value of XRP will increase. According to JPMorgan, the new XRP ETS could generate $14 billion in revenue. Yes, you can be confident that they will do whatever it takes to make it happen because they are saying it. Alright, JPMorgan has now caused controversy on the internet. Why, men? JPMorgan is being ridiculed by everyone on Twitter. This is really wicked. Alright, everyone should withdraw their funds and stock from JPMorgan G odds if they are a believer in Bitcoin and strategy. Indeed. Alright. Cardone Grant, I recently filed a $20 million lawsuit against Chase for a credit card debt. Alpha Scenes are allegedly acting improperly. Now, Bombshell. My team is releasing a fresh research that reveals top-level JPMorgan Chase executives assisted E in running his enterprise. It is recommended that you read this. Whoa! Things is what happens when things gets insane. Isn't this poor work? As a result, JPMorgan adopted my MicroStrategy, which targets Bitcoin in order to sell so that everyone dumps, particularly when they sell their shares here. Surely everyone could see that it was a fraud case. They probably purchased all of these cryptocurrencies, and the proof is in the cake. Now many were upset. They intend to sue JPMorgan and are pursuing them. Look at this. We're learning more about the connections between E and JPMorgan than ever before. Let's now briefly discuss Jeffrey E. and JPMorgan since he was the negotiator of the